go to Larry Sparano with some commentary. Hey, what do you think?
Yeah, hey, Ken, what I think is that the Trump administration is underplaying the
Yeah,
potential
yeah,
danger of this. Now, even in his speech yesterday about going on the air reassuring the nation, I don't know how you reacted to it, but to me, he seems strikingly unconvinced.
right.
He's like he didn't believe it himself. He's usually very bombastic, very assured, and all that. To me, he seemed hesitant in that statement, which I think is a clue that it's not as rosy a picture as he said. Now, what he did say, first of all, during that, when asked by reporters, he said, the country's in great shape. He doesn't think it's inevitable. Blah blah blah. Then, as the reporters pushed more, he then said, "I think there is a chance that it could get worse. There's a chance it could get fairly,
Right,
substantially
right,
worse."
right.
So, what does that tell you?
But I
And
mean,
don't
that,
forget, all the health experts now are raising an alarm, trying not to panic people, and I'm not
right,
trying to do that either.
right,
But the health experts are more pessimistic than the president is about the inevitability. They're saying no, it's not if, it's when it's going to come here and what's going to happen then, and there has to be a lot of preparation.
but
See,
I mean,
I
that,
think the mistake they made initially, I remember when this first broke out in China,
uh-huh,
if I'm remembering correctly, and I think I am, they were letting people back from flights from China.
right,
And what they were doing was just checking them for apparent symptoms like
hmm,
temperature elevation and
right,
all that.
right,
So if they weren't symptomatic at that point, they let them pass into this country.
right,
And now we're finding out the incubation period is longer than we thought at first. So these people had been roaming around asymptomatic before they
right,
came out with the symptoms, or some of them don't even become symptomatic, but they're
right.
carriers of it. So,
Well,
this has much more potential to be much more widespread than the Trump administration is letting on.
but I mean, do you think he is playing to the stock market and to the economy? I mean, and
Well, that's
playing to
another thing.
politics.
And he
Yeah,
knows, not just for the good of the country with the economy, but for the good for his reelection.
right,
Because if the stock market goes down, he can't be touting, economic
right,
success. And
right.
also, if this coronavirus becomes much more widespread and much less controllable, then he's going to be blamed for that as well. Now,
Right,
he's saying that the Democrats are trying to panic people and they're using this politically by criticizing his administration's approach to this.
right,
But yeah, maybe Nancy Pelosi and others are hyping it up a bit too much in terms of containing panic. But
right.
he's saying, that this is all political, that they're using, whether it's political or not, he's underplaying this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I think I wonder if Mike Pence is the right choice either.
You know, that's another thing, the science denier guy.
Yeah,
Now, he may
right,
be
exactly.
he may be up to the job if he's able to use his underlings, to do the nuts and bolts work, and he just
Yeah,
supervises. But they talk about how he doesn't believe in climate change. During his administration, he did a poor job in containing an HIV virus outbreak because he refused to hand out free needles
needles,
at the
right.
time.
Yeah, right,
Which
right.
again is a right-wing approach to that. We're not going to be a nanny government, and why should we encourage drug abuse? But practicality, if the needles were handed out earlier, it wouldn't have been as bad there. If I've
Yeah.
got my facts correct, and I think I do on that.
But I mean, my fear is that I think he picked Pence to sort of be able to control their narrative that comes out of that what comes out to the public and to the press. I mean, if Spence
Yeah, I was just
Pence is going
watching
to be the
Fox News
spokesman.
this morning, and they
Yeah,
had a doctor on who's out in Omaha where they're
yeah,
containing some people there. And he was downplaying that it's perfectly safe,
yeah,
no
yeah,
nobody in America needs to be fearing to walk the streets containing catching the
yeah.
virus. This is going to be contained, we have highly trained individuals, give me a break. They're not allowing for any kind of misgivings with this and any kind of flaws in the containment system.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
I understand you don't want people to panic, but at the same time, look at the history of this. When it first started in China, the Chinese government was saying, "Oh no, no,
yeah.
no big
Exactly.
problem,"
Right,
and we
right,
were going along with that. And
right.
then, little by little, the Chinese government had to admit more and more, and now it's spreading to all these European countries. But the big the big um, unknown here is
Hmm.
that people were let back into this country asymptomatic. It doesn't mean they weren't carrying it at the time. So
Right.
how many contacts have they had throughout the nation
Exactly,
now?
exactly,
And
yeah,
Nassau County, in your own New York State, where you live, you live upstate, but Nassau County,
right,
not far from New York City itself, there's 80 cases now of people being watched under quarantine.
yeah, right,
And you know, in Nassau County, there's a lot of people going back and forth, traveling to New York City, all these flights in and out. So, I mean, the potential for that it's already a mass spread underway, I
yeah,
think is great. Now, again, it may peter out, it may not be as bad,
right.
but I don't know if it's a better service to the public to play it down or to talk realistically
Realistically,
about it.
sure, I agree. All right, sir, well, thank you, and we'll talk to you on Tuesday. Have a good
All right,
weekend.
Ken.
Okay,
Okay.
bye-bye.